Hi, good evening for everyone. So today we are going to play some MTTs. Some might be small fields, some might be a bit bigger ones, but I have been opening games from Poker Stars, 888 Poker and Poker Loco. Had late wrecked into some of the games, and if you have some games to recommend, which would be a good one to start, please give your opinions. This is one which I late wrecked, so pretty easy sub with 10-jack suited. And if audio and video are working as they should, please comment about that on the chat as well. Pretty bad call by the villain, but seems to work. Seems at least that in Poker Loco there's really not much to choose from. And basically, I think total crap are totally fine to fold in those small blind spots because there's no antis either, so not really that much to achieve by stealing those. A7, pretty shallow stack villain, and this player is sitting out, so I think I will take that spot. And good evening to Eki. Of course, one of the hard sides on this type of coaching is that because I don't usually play MTTs that much, I don't really know about what sort of games are running and so on. And not really a point, in my opinion, to try to bluff in any spot. Sometimes queen high can be best one as well. Okay, so everything is working. King queen definitely defending and hitting pretty nicely. Basically here I can either call or check raise. I think with this stack size I'm just going to be check raising that one. With he's sort of really deep stacks, I think King 10 suited is pretty nice hand, even from UTG, but pretty easy to fold when facing shove. And Ace-5 suited, definitely just shoving. I think I will bet again. I can get called by a high type of hand, for example, some 5-6, so on. And 4 is pretty nice card, well, I can be behind against some of the pocket pairs, but I think it's still pretty mandatory. But of course, if we check raises now, it's kind of, our hand should be pretty much bluff catcher at that point. Decent chance to get action from a high even still and 3x if he happens to have one, and so on. Of course, one option is also to open MTT SNG's later part from the poker stars. And I could also open that Twitch chat. I'm just folding that pretty small suited connector type of hand. But definitely if it was a bit better, I could defend with the price I'm getting. And I try to steal not much sample on the villains. Still has some blocker value and some playability. Yeah, I think we get decent amount of action from these 6 tables already, so in here we are against really shallow stack, it's really dry flop sport, so I can go for pretty small c-bet, maybe get him to do something and so on, or continue wider against my c-bet. But definitely I want to be c-betting strong AX. If I had like small AX, I think it would be totally fine to just check behind as well, some portion of time at least. Queen 6, I basically could turn it into bluff, but at think my 6 is still a decent amount of time. Best hand here. Of course, it might get villain to bluff as well. So I think I could also turn that hand into bluff. I have decent amount of straight composed here. But I think checking is also totally fine overall. Well, betting 40, but there's really not much I can hope to hit with my hand. Especially as it was 3-way pot, so. Get 7s, Jack 8 4, 2 callers. Well, it's kind of. Is it too likely that one of them has hit something, because it's quite often going to happen that any sort of 9-queen type of hand or better will continue if I see bet here, so I think check folding right away against 2 players is going to be totally fine. Okay, so total blank on the turn and both players called, so. But for example, if just one had called and there was like 9-10 ace, I could also double barrel all of those at least. Could also check that top set, of course. Might have been even better option because the flop was also pretty dry one. Window suited. I think I just fold. In here I'm kind of deep to shove. And I really can't be flatting here either. Then 8 is a bit too weak to open here, because PP is so short. He should be in here. I could try to check raise here, because this sort of flop is something people usually see bet huge amount of time, so I think my check raise in general is going to go through pretty often. I would assume, at least. Of course, I don't really represent that much either, but pocket fives, I can limp, I can raise. I think both options are fine. Basically, with limping it's just pure jet mining most of the time. By raising, we can get it into heads up pot, and for example, this sort of flop I would expect to get pretty often the pot down by making c-bet. But not this time. This might be quite close, but ever shoving any two or pretty close to it would be good. Of course, the player does look kind of decent, so it might be a bit too wide. And here pretty big blind, so I'm just going to ISO with that ace. Now he's suddenly donking. I think I'm going to be ahead really often still, so well, I could also raise that, but I think it looks kind of air heavy. Okay, so backdoor flush. Well, that's the way. It's just that by flatting I get him to continue more often with his bluffs. So I think it's going to be more profitable option. And ace 3 definitely shoving. Even if this guy min raises, it's pretty decent spot to pre-steal, and if it's unopened, there's just so much in the pot, and I really don't want to be. If I'm in raising he shoves, it's kind of awkward situation overall, and ace-3 as inducing hand is not going to be that great. And of course, if villain flats, then it doesn't play well post-flop either. I was going to bet on the blank river, but king is not the good one. King 10. Well, let's min raise. He bet only 1/3 of the pot here. And I did have also backdoor flush draw. Of course, the ugly part is that if the queen comes, I have only the bottom end of the straight, but yeah. I did have the ace. I don't know, folding river might be okay. Okay, so I basically was ISO raising this limper and going with most of the flops, but when there is third player calling and this sort of flop comes, I think I have to fold. And they say suited, just shoving with that sort of stack depth. Yeah, I think it's working pretty decently with the stack and style. This is actually pretty close to monies, it seems. And ace 9, pretty standard flat call. I don't really want to be 3-bet calling or 3-bet folding. Pretty huge 3-bet sizing. I would be usually calling this, but or the c-bet on tier, but when he makes it that big on pretty dry flop, I just think that he probably has it more often than I want. It's pretty close with 10-8. But when we are really close to, I would at least assume that those 10 positions probably drop pretty quickly on hyper games, so I don't want to take most likely really marginal, and might be even minus EV considering the situation. And now we are basically, I want to be waiting my time here and then shout his hand, just to make it most likely that I won't be the bubble boy. But definitely playing this sort of hand. And seems like I probably don't have the, well, in better situation than I thought. Did he hit full house or something? Because I thought I was winning that, but oh yeah, he had set on the flop. Nasty river. And seems pretty tight player from this sample, so I'm just going to be min raising. And I would assume min raise with any two might be okay. Of course, sample is not that huge, but I still think it's going to be some sort of indication already. And again, situation with pretty active looking player from small sample with big antes, so I think it's going to be okay. Without flush draw on the flop, I would have folded the ace queen on the river, but I think it's fine with that spot. And at least on my own games, I quite often see that people don't value bet in those spots with two pairs or even sets that often. Of course, here it's probably versus good players, it's probably kind of face up when I'm in race with that sort of stack depth, but I doubt it really matters here. And with this shallow stack, I'm just going to shove over his min raise. With king 6, I think shoving would be somewhat okay. I think other option is to limp. It's better suited jack I would be shoving here. Like jack 8 definitely. No idea how long this $30 game might last. Mm, 4-6 suited. Well, let's try the limp. Seems kind of active player against those moves. With 10 queen suited I definitely want to play. And when I only have 15 pp with the antes, shoving is going to be the most sensible play. And not really coordinated flops, so most of the time I expect c-bet to work. And deuce is not going to be any sort of scare card, so just giving up. King 8, I have to call here on the bottom left against 7 pp or something, button shove. So yeah, I will probably add some MTT SNCs after some of these games end. I kind of thought to replace the old 45 to 180 men voting option with the MTT option. And basically I try to focus on smaller field games from these MTTs so that these wouldn't last like huge amount of times. Yeah, good evening for Pullakahvi and Danita as well. And pretty standard check calling spot with on the upper left. And here I'm going to min raise. Of course I have to call against PP fish house. Oh, I'm sitting out. One game. That's quite a feat with 5 tables or 6 tables or something. This is kind of decent in my opinion to barrel because a lot of villains hands are going to be kind of scared of that one unless he has like flush or ace or something like pair plus flush draw now, but any sort of 7, 8, 8, 9, 6x and so on should be folding quite often. Well, that would have folded against river shove, but at the same time he does have some flushes completed from the turn and some of them completed on the river, so and definitely opening any 2 or not. It was, I thought he was sitting out, but maybe I misread or he came back. went for check because of how much I block from the flop, but when he pots it and I have only 1300 behind, I'm just going to shove here. Mostly because if he has something, he's most likely going to be calling, and at the same time, if the river is club and I just call, it's kind of spot that I have to call anyway, but gets kind of awkward. They're closing on the bubble here on the upper right as well. Just checking that does it show how many cash on the egg, but it seems it doesn't. Or is it still rebuy time or something? Could add some of the MTT SNGs as well. Yeah, I went into sauna as well before the coaching, starting the stream, so pretty close to bubble, but of course definitely shoving this sort of spot. Would need to find bit better positions on these huts. I think it doesn't use the ones I have set for. Well, here as well. It's close to bubble, but I think it's fine. Pretty close though, so it's. I think I should be marking this one. Without bubble, it would be pretty clear shoving spot. With the antis, I basically only have something like less than 8 pp, 7 pp or something. Spade, no. So bust it out. Not necessarily the greatest of situations with 3 players on the pot, but at least this guy seems to be really fishy, so I'm not really that scared of that guy at least. But with what sort of stack I have, I think c-betting and stacking off is going to be the best option against unknowns. What do you think about that 10-8 suited shove on the close to bubble? Or it was pretty close to bubble at least. Was it too loose or okay? And I could at least start hyper tournaments at MTTs if there is any. So if you have some pretty tight looking players on the blinds at least, so let's try to steal. I don't think there is much point in trying to value bet. And pretty standard flops check. I don't really want to be c-betting that one. Pretty hard to get call from the weaker hand, and there is risk of, if he has some sort of draw, that he's going to be check raising that one. So Okay, so Donita's opinion is that it's mandatory shove. Yeah, it might be. I would assume that the bubble situation probably makes it somewhat more on the marginal side, but I might be wrong. We can check that one at some point. So getting 3-bet from bottom. Pretty tight looking player. I'm just going to be still flat calling. Basically, if I want to 4-bet, only sensible sizing is going to be pretty much shoving. But it's also kind of situation where villain can have some light 3-bets here. And there's not really that much reason to be check raising here. I also have the ace of hearts, so heart of the turn is not going to be that horrible either. And of course never folding if he bets on the turn. I think there's more value in checking because he probably never thinks that I have flush, and 10 and jack is going to be kind of scare cards. And if he has hit jack, I think he's going to be value betting it decently often. And if he has some sort of like pocket eights himself, I think it's going to be pretty hard to get value by betting either. When the flush draw also completes. Okay, so it's time for break. Let's keep that one and continue in 5 minutes.